Hello YouTube. Angie and I, we had a very busy day today and we forgot to vlog it. We had to do a lot of stuff last minute and we just took off and did everything together. And I just come home. Been home for a while. After our little errand, we did the fish tank. We cleaned out the fish tank and all that stuff. And we realized we didn't do a video. So I told Angie I will do some kind of video, which you saw the title right now, basically how we plan our trips. Now, we're in January right now, or just finishing up January. By the time you watch this video, we'll be going in February. And that. I'm going to be in the month of February. I'm going to start pricing our upcoming trip for this summer. But it takes a lot of research on the laptop, which we're probably going to be using in a few weeks. If not, I'll go to the desktop and do my research. I've already got a head start on it, how much it's going to cost us to go to these Cedar Fair trips, amusement parks and that. So I got a general idea how much it's going to cost, basically. But before, Angie and I used to have the desktop and laptop that we just added recently in the last few weeks. How we used to book our trips. Back in the day. I'll tell you what, we didn't book them. We just basically wing it. Okay, when we used to do our couple of vacations and we realized, okay, we need to go out of town for a week and a few days. Even if it's just for a few days or just a weekend out of town, or try to plan a vacation. We kind of got bit in the butt when we did the Kansas City Amtrak trip. We knew in advance, but we failed to save enough to cover all our expenses, and we didn't realize it was how expensive to take a taxi ride from Union Station to the airport to get a car rental, and take the car rental back to the airport, and take a taxi ride from the airport back to Union Station to catch the Amtrak train. So we didn't really properly budget for that, but we had to watch our budget at the time. That was back in when I wanted that Amtrak train, basically. Oh, speaking of Amtrak, I'm already looking at a budget for that for next year for Angie, but I'm going to think that if we do afford it, it's going to be, I'm going to put Angie on the Amtrak train, and I'll be chasing her or following her on a car. Hopefully I beat her to LA, Union Station in LA, which that's our goal. But I don't know, that's 2 years down the line, and that's a lot of booking, a lot of planning, and a lot of routes I'd like to take, but I want to stay within a 3-hour limit of the actual where the Southwest Chief is going to be running on, because the quickest way for me is it's going to be along the California Zephyr route, then down to the Southwest Chief route. That's going to take me at least almost a half a day to a day away from that line. So I want to say near in case something happens with the train. So I'll be within a few hours instead of a half a day or longer. But planning is going to be the key, basically. We still got to do a lot of talking, a lot of planning in that. But that's 2 years down the line. Okay, prior to that, we used to wing our trips. If we had enough money, if we saved enough money for a couple weeks, we usually get a vehicle that we used to own. Hard to believe that we used to own a vehicle back in the day when Angie and I was living together. When we was given in town, we used to own a vehicle, a van. It was nice to have. We used to just, all of a sudden, we'll just take off on a weekend. We'll just head like to Cedar Point for a weekend, or we head to Chicago for a weekend, or we head up to Minnesota to a casino up in to some form of casino up near Redwood Falls, Minnesota, or Morton, Minnesota, to that Jackpot Junction Casino as our weekend getaways. And sometimes we have the budget, sometimes we don't have the budget. It's when we don't have the budget usually is one that hurts in that. Okay, when we first moved in up here, we decided to get a desktop computer. And I told Angie the benefits of having a desktop, basically. Not just because we have Facebook, not because of YouTube, is the benefits, one of the main benefits that I like to have the desktop or the laptop. Sorry about the shakiness of the camera all of a sudden, because I got the laptop right underneath the camera. See? Earthquake. Basically, planning a trip is very crucial, and how I budget for a trip is usually what I like to do is over budget. What I like to do is go over, give me an over estimate of what I'm going to plan to spend, so this way I have an idea how much money we're going to put together. So if I go, my budget's way over and my X comes up to here, then I know for a fact I'll have enough, because I over plan, just on the safe side. I over plan, over budget. Basically what I do is I over budget everything. So what I do is I see what the cost is and I add $50 to $100 to the cost. Basically, the reason I did that, just to make sure we save enough money so we cover everything when we actually do go to the trip. So I tell Angie is this: I always add extra funds just to make sure we guaranteed the funds when we save our money. Say, well, we're short on our goal, when in reality we have enough to go anyway. So when I plan my amusement park trips, like the 2016, that whole Cedar, I did a video on when we bought our tickets at Cedar Point back in 2016. We spent less than $400 for those tickets, and food vouchers, parking, and whatever we need for Cedar Point. This does not include the tent camping. But what I did was, for Cedar Point, was I saw how much it was really going to cost. I actually budgeted for $600, and all the reality is we spent less than $400 just to guarantee that we were going to Cedar Point that 2016. When we did the campground, I saw how much the night was, per night was going to cost. And what I did was I added $75 to the pot, where I rounded up to the nearest 200. So this way I guarantee the money that we're going to have to cover that campground. It's sneaky on my end, by what I call planning with an over budget. There's nothing wrong with that. To me, it works out pretty good, because right now, if I over budget, let's say add an extra $100 or extra $200, I might be covering surprise charges. There's always surprise charges, especially when you buy tickets online. Always be aware of surprise charges. I'm always aware that there could be like an upcharge if I purchase on a certain time, or I didn't buy it soon enough to get a cheapest discount, or I waited too long and they upped the price on me because I waited too long, basically. So I always budget more, and hopefully we book it when it's still cheap. Okay, like I said, when we actually went online and booked our tickets back when we did a Cedar Point trip, we estimated close to $1,500 to cover for everything: car rental, hotels, park, our extra costs to eat out at, let's say, in Chicago. Luckily, Angie's mom covered us by buying us gift cards to Buffalo Wild Wings. So when Angie and I got Buffalo Wild Wings gift certificates, we could have used them here in town when they first opened up, but we saved them for that Chicago trip, basically. So that helped us along the way. Now, Angie received a gift card for Christmas, Now it's up to her and her final decision when she wants to use it. Basically, I just made it to make it her decision. If she decides she wants to use it on an upcoming trip this summer, it's her decision. I told her, don't just do what you want. It's your gift card. You spend it the way you want it. It's your gift card. That's it. I'm hands off of it. But if she wants to save it for this upcoming trip, it's up to her. Basically, because it's enough to pay for a meal along the way. Basically, because we want to keep our out-of-pocket expenses as low as possible. But it's her call. It's her gift card. It's her call. Basically. The whole Cedar Point trip, we planned for $1,500. I think our final budgeting, except for the bank issue, we had a bank issue. Remember in our past videos, we had a bank issue where basically the car rental decided to charge, instead of the charge on my credit card, they charged on my debit card, where it created an overdraft. And I had overdraft issues. So luckily I was able to recover a lot of those overdraft charges, but all but maybe 2. But it still hurts, basically. That's why I like to over budget. Even minor mistakes, this is why we're planning to over budget. Just to guarantee we go. Last year's vacation went pretty good. Budget-wise, it was excellent. We stayed on budget. In fact, if I remember correctly, we had enough money left over. We actually paid a bill early after we got done with a trip, basically, which is good. We could have spent a little bit more on that trip. We chose not to, and we had more than enough when we came home. That was the general idea, basically. That's budget-wise. I think last year when we did our vacation, I think that was our best vacation budget-wise, because of everything planned out perfectly in a way that came out where I wanted to plan, basically. Except for the weather, the issues, all the stuff, but no big deal in that. So that's basically why I like to plan ahead of time when we do stuff like this. Just to make sure I have everything I want planned ahead of time, get most of the hard stuff out of the way, and this way we can always worry about small details. Okay, except for the 2017 Milwaukee trip, which we had, which I had my brother's car being borrowed at the time, during that year, we almost didn't have enough money to go for that, but a PayPal donation came in at the right time. Thanks to some of our friends that kind of had a little, went live on Facebook saying that we got an upcoming trip and we didn't really want to go. I knew we didn't have the budget to go because the trip was sprung on us almost. We had a hunch we could go, but it was kind of like last minute, so we couldn't really come up with the money at all. But then we had one donation came in that kind of helped us out, but then we had an unannounced donation. That unannounced donation was huge. That did not, I didn't expect that to happen, but we had a huge PayPal donation. That was huge. Let's say that probably saved the trip right there. And they didn't watch us on Facebook. They just saw one of our videos, and I didn't have that video on YouTube. I just went to Facebook. The video was on Facebook, basically. So, they saw one of our videos of upcoming trips. They saw how we plan our trips. They thought that was nice enough to donate a big bucks to the channel. So, could it happen again? Who knows? We don't know. Okay, this video I know is a little long. I know it's a little long and boring. Okay, enough of that. So, like I try to do is, what's our key points of planning a trip? Is basically what we like to do, how we're going to pay for it, it's like what we like to do. What do we really want to do during a trip? Not just this year's trip, but we got to consider next year's trip. because a lot of people says we didn't do this, we didn't do that. You gotta remember is this: we only have a short amount of time. We only got so many days to get there, so many days to do something else, and we want to make sure we hit something on the way home. That's in the 2020. That's in the 2021 trip. This year is we're going to do most of the Cedar Fair parks that we're planning to do. I'm pricing the tickets. I'm pricing the platinum tickets. I'm also pricing the food plan. That's going to be the food for all the parks. The only one that's having a sticking point is the drink end, the Pepsi or the Coca-Cola refill end. I got a question I need to ask. Does these going to work through the whole year anyway? Throughout the whole park. So anybody who's going to the Cedar Fair park prior, because we're booking this trip in either late April, early May. I have to make these bookings. Most of these parks don't even open until like late April or early May. I'm going to have these tickets booked, and I got to make sure what I want to buy is already booked. So I'll have my questions asked with the people online, basically. So we got to make sure our tickets are booked ahead of time. Any hotels that we may require is also booked and reserved for a lower price, hopefully for a lower price, but we will budget for more just in case. To be on the safe side, we'll plan each hotel room for at least a minimum of $125 a night or better if necessary, but we will plan accordingly according to our budget. Any campgrounds that we're planning to stay at, we're going to plan to stay at a few campgrounds. Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, that's always for us, always a campground there, because we know a campground nearby. You guys saw in our past videos. You guys saw on our 2016 Cedar Point video where we stayed at that campground in Sandusky, Ohio. I think it was a KOA Bay Shore Estates Campground. It's a KOA campground in Sandusky, Ohio. So that's where our main camping coming home on that trip. But we don't know about any campgrounds going out or around, so we're looking for that. So anybody who's in the Kings Island, Carowinds, Kings Dominion, and Dorney Park, if you guys watching videos in that area, please let us know if there's a nice campground within a 5 to 10 mile radius of those parks. We'll consider a campground because I love camping. You guys saw our tent last year. We were supposed to get a new one this year. I told Angie we're gonna send our old tent out for retirement right. We're planning to do, except for the Kings Island portion, we'll probably stay at a hotel or hotel motel. But I think the rest of the way, I think we could probably pop up a tent for the next couple of nights along the way. That sometimes saves money too. So we're looking for campgrounds near Carowinds, Kings Dominion, and Dorney Park. That's all we need to have for campgrounds, basically. That's all we need. I'll be looking online and see what's available in that. And like I said, next year will be a nightmare to plan. Trust me, it will be a nightmare. Big time nightmare. So even if it would be a nightmare, it'll be a lot easier because, like I said, laptop computer, desktop computer, we can plan, book, and all that stuff ahead of time. Not like it was years ago where we basically wung it and just took off in our vehicle we used to own. And just either we had enough money to go or we didn't have enough money to go. And usually most of the time we're just scraping. As soon as we get there, we're just scraping by. And since the advent of the computers and booking, it makes life a lot easier and planning a lot easier. Holy cow. I cannot imagine people without a computer. Even if you don't like to be on Facebook or YouTube or anything like that, if you got a desktop computer and you like to do your planning on your trips, out-of-town trips, these computers, they're a lifesaver. And also when you book online through the actual websites, the actual parks themselves or hotels, you could probably save money by booking in advance, basically. But don't take my word for it. I'm only basing it what happens to me. I can book in advance and try to save money, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So just be aware of that. That's why I always say, when you budget for a trip, always throw in a few extra bucks. So this way, by throwing a few extra bucks, and hopefully you get close to right in here, you should have enough to cover for everything. And this will be what you did. You over budget. And by over budgeting, let's say adding a few extra $100 or on everything, it makes money saving a lot easier for me because I know what my maximum goal is, but I know what my minimum is because I say ran the numbers myself. So basically, Angie doesn't know. I've already ran some of these numbers already time you watch this video. All right. Okay. Summer plans. Watch for anyone who wants to do a meetup on our summer plans for this summer. We don't know what the official dates are. Check on a future live show or an edited video when we announce our dates for this trip. Once I start booking for this trip, I will announce the dates of when, where, and approximately what times we'll be there when we're going up. For the ones who likes to go to amusement parks with us, and I know a few that like to go to Cedar Point and Kings Island, you may want to pay attention for an upcoming video. Probably going to be around May when I will announce these dates because it'll be after I book the trip. I will announce these dates on YouTube, either a live show or an edited video, basically. So if you want to do a meetup, and I know we'll be meeting up with 3 people on this trip, once we book it, I'll let them know on Facebook or an upcoming video that we have booked this trip, and we will be guaranteed we will meet 3 people on this trip. And it's not Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Alright? It's going to be, hopefully, Carla, John, and Lillian. Hopefully. Okay, keep our fingers crossed. But stay tuned for an upcoming video. When we do have enough money put together and so forth, we will, once I start booking this trip, we'll start announcing. And if we do this California trip in 2021, we'll do the same thing. We'll probably do the same thing. If we're planning we are planning also a Canadian trip, probably in 2022. Hopefully we'll still have YouTube by then. Keep our fingers crossed. Because that'll be a good trip too, to put on YouTube. But that's years down the line. Unless our channel gets very, very lucky in the next year and a half. Like millions of subscribers and millions of views. That'd be great, but it's just not going to happen. What's going to happen right now, we're going to go ahead and end this video. I know it's way too long. So please like, share, subscribe. Don't forget the subscribe button, notification bell. If you guys know of a campground that we might need on our way, I know of one in Sandusky, Ohio we're going to plan to do. Do not offer a campground at Kings Island because we'll be coming in late that night, so we will be spending money for a hotel. We're just looking for campgrounds near either a campground near Carowinds, Kings Dominion, Dorney Park. That's all we're looking for, campgrounds. I will be checking online to find something nearby, hopefully something good, halfway decent, and within driving distance, so it's not out of our way, not too far out of our way. Alright? We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey, shopping trip tomorrow. That means bankruptcy. Bye-bye. Oh, please like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe button, notification bell. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bankruptcy time.